Although weather-related events, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and flooding, are beyond our control, consumers can take steps to help make the insurance claims process run smoothly. One thing you can do before bad weather hits is to make an inventory of your personal property and keep that inventory someplace other than your home. That list will help if you have to make a claim later. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners has developed an app called My Home Scrapbook that is great for this purpose. You can find a link to it on our website. Here are some helpful tips that can help you with filing a claim. Contact your insurance company or agent immediately to report any damage. As soon as it is safe to do so, prepare a detailed inventory of all damaged or destroyed property for the insurance adjuster and for yourself. Take photographs or a video of the damaged property to help document your claim and assist in the insurance company's investigation. Keep all receipts for emergency repairs and for any temporary living expenses if your home is not habitable. Make only those repairs necessary to prevent any further damage to your home or business. Do not have permanent repairs made without consulting your insurance company. Learn more by visiting our website, insurance.maryland.gov, or by calling us at 1-800-492-6116.
If a tree falls on your property, are you covered by your homeowner's policy? The answer is that it depends on the terms of your policy. Generally, many homeowners' policies provide coverage for damage to your home and the contents of your home if a tree, even if it is your neighbor's tree, falls on your home or other insured structure, such as a fence or a detached garage. If your neighbor's tree was dead and the neighbor knew it was dead, then your homeowner's insurer may seek reimbursement from your neighbor for the claim. This is called subrogation. The amount of coverage will be determined by your policy's dollar limits. Your homeowner's policy may also pay a limited amount, usually between $500 and $1,000, to remove the tree from your property. The amount paid for the tree removal is typically based on the event and not the number of trees that fall. This means that you will receive the same amount of money whether one tree falls or if 10 trees fall. Your homeowner's policy will not provide coverage for damage to your car if the tree falls on it. If you have comprehensive coverage on your automobile, then your automobile policy will pay for the damage. Talk to a representative from your insurer to find out what your policy covers, or visit our website for more information at www.insurance.maryland.gov. If your car is damaged by a storm, the damage will be covered if you have comprehensive coverage, sometimes called comp or other than collision coverage. Comprehensive coverage usually covers damage from events other than a collision, such as a flood or from fallen trees. Comprehensive coverage is usually subject to a deductible that is shown on your policy's declaration page. If your vehicle has flood damage, it is important to file your claim as soon as you can. It is a good idea to take photographs or video of the damage and to take all of the necessary steps to prevent mold or mildew from developing in your vehicle. For example, you can properly dry out your vehicle to prevent mold and mildew. Your insurer may choose to pay for a cleaning before looking to see if there is any flood damage that needs to be repaired. If the car floated away, contact the police department to see if your car has been recovered. If a tree or limbs have fallen on your car, this damage would also likely be covered under your comprehensive coverage, subject to any applicable deductible. If the tree is on the property of another, such as a neighbor or on public land, the owner of the tree will generally not be responsible for the damage unless the tree was a known hazard prior to the accident and the owner failed to take action. If your car is damaged in a storm, the insurer will look at how much your car is worth versus how much the repairs will cost. Under Maryland law, a vehicle may be determined a total loss when the cost of repairs plus the cost of any anticipated rental reimbursement expense reaches 75% of the pre-loss value of your vehicle. It is important to know that your insurer may consider the cost of actual repairs as well as the potential repair cost of hidden damage and the cost of a rental vehicle in deciding if a vehicle is a total loss. If you are unsure Whether or not you have purchased comprehensive coverage, you can look at your policy declarations or ask your insurance producer or insurer for details about what your policy covers. For further information, please visit our website at www.insurance.maryland.gov.
Thanks, Joyce. So today what we're going to be doing next is we're going to give all of you the opportunity right now to see some FAQs, which also give you some tips and some hints on what you can do as after a disaster. And also we have 2 documents that have resources. So Joyce, if you could go ahead and share that with the group.
They've been placed in the chat.
And you'll notice that one set of the resources are specifically for Allegheny County based on the flooding that occurred on May 13th. And the other set of resources are for anyone, either a homeowner, automobile, or business owner that sustained damage as a result of the May 16th event. So the next thing I want to tell people is if you want to speak one-on-one with one of our experts that can answer any specific questions that you have regarding the damage that you received, just let us know and we will put you directly in a breakout room. And you can do that now, or you can let us know anytime during the presentation. Joyce, how would you like people to let you know? Just by raising their hand or some other way?
The chat's the best.
So if you could put your name in the chat, then Joyce will put you in a breakout room with one of our experts. And now what I'd ask is, Jan, if you could just let anyone who speaks Spanish, let them know of the breakout room option, please.
Ok, bienvenidos a todos. Para aquellos que hablan español, la Administración de Seguros de Maryland ha lanzado este centro virtual de desastres para ayudar a cualquier persona que tenga preguntas relacionadas con seguros o problemas sobre daños causados por eventos climáticos severos recientes. En cualquier momento tenemos disponible sesiones de grupos privados para que ustedes puedan hablar uno a uno en privado y preguntarle cualquier pregunta a un especialista.
Thanks so much, Jan. So now we're very fortunate to have a representative from the Department of Disabilities, Nan Brittenham, and she will tell you briefly about some resources that the Department of Disabilities has available for people that sustain damage. Nan?
Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Nan Brittingham, and I'm with the Maryland Department of Disabilities. I'm director of our Constituent Services Program, and we provide resources and information and assistance to people with disabilities, their families, and their caregivers. If anyone needs reasonable accommodations due to a disability or has a language access need while handling a disaster-related issue, please give us a call or shoot us an email and we can help you with that. Our department also includes the Maryland Technology Assistance Program, which has an AT loan program and an AT financial loan program, the Attendant Care Program, which provides attendant care services to people between the ages of 18 and 64, and the Telecommunications Access of Maryland program, which includes Maryland Relay and the Maryland Accessible Telecommunications Program. So more information about our department and programs is available on our website, and I'll post our information and a link in the chat. So please feel free to contact our department should you have any questions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Nan. So once again, if anyone wants to speak one-on-one with our representatives, please notify us by putting your name in the chat, and you'll be sent to a private breakout room to talk specifically about your particular question. And now what I'm going to do is get ready to start the presentation. And the presentation is going to go over a lot of the information that was present in those videos and was a part of the FAQ document. But what I'll try to do is to go over it just a little bit more thoroughly. And once I finish the presentation, I will take any general questions. But if you have specific questions, then I won't be answering those. You will be directed to the breakout room to speak with one of our team members. So Joyce, if you could go ahead and pull up the slides. And once again, I want to let everybody know that if you either want to get a copy of the slides or you've somebody misses this presentation, all of this will be available on our website. I'd say today is Tuesday, probably by Thursday or Friday, so don't think you've missed anything. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we always want to make sure people understand is that this presentation is not legal advice. Essentially, if you're looking for legal advice, we would say that you need to hire your own personal attorney or speak to an advisor or talk with your insurance company. We can provide general information, but we cannot provide legal advice. Next slide, please. So let's start with the automobile claims, because as we saw from both what happened in Western Maryland and what happened at various places throughout the state, there was a lot of damage to automobiles, either flood damage or trees falling on cars or other types of damage. So we're going to start out talking about how to and what you should know about your automobile claim. And one of the first things we tell people is you need to make a decision as to whether or not you want to file a claim. And if you decide that, yes, I want to file a claim, then you should promptly contact your either insurance agent, we call them producers, or contact your insurance company. The longer you wait, the more difficult it's going to be to get your claim handled promptly. And some policies even have a cutoff time as to when you need to make that notification. Once you've reached out to your insurance company, they may give you lots of different options. They may tell you that they've got several body shops that you can take your car to have it examined. They may tell you that you can choose where you want to take your car, but at the end of the day, you always have the right to take your car to the body shop you choose. An insurance company cannot say you must use one of their selected body shops. That said, the insurance company has an absolute right to come out and look at your automobile to determine what type of damage existed. So what they can do is they can say, yes, I want to see your car, but they cannot tell you that you must use one of their body shops. Next slide, please. So especially with these two events, cars that are severely damaged because of flooding, or if a tree falls on your car, frequently those vehicles may be deemed to be a total loss. So what does that mean? That means the cost to repair your vehicle is 75% or more than the fair market value of your vehicle. And you may say, well, I don't want my car to be a total loss. Well, under Maryland law, your insurer doesn't have a choice. If the cost to repair is greater than 75% or greater than the fair market value, your insurer must declare your automobile a total loss. Next slide, please. Now, if you think your car, then let's say the insurance company comes back to you and they say, your car is only worth $5,000. And you say, wait a second, my car is worth more than that. Then you have the right to present the insurance company with documentation to show that your car is worth more. That documentation can be quotes from car dealers or ads, but the cars that you present, the counter offers, must have the exact same features that your car has. Now, just because you present that evidence doesn't mean the insurance company has to accept it. What you have the opportunity to do is to present the evidence, but the insurance company can say, well, those vehicles that you presented aren't really like the vehicle that you had, so they don't have to accept your counter information. Next slide. Now, if you determine that you want to keep your vehicle and your vehicle has been deemed a total loss, you have the right to keep your vehicle, but your vehicle will be labeled a salvage vehicle, which means that if you ever try to sell it, that's going to be on the title. Also, it may be more difficult to find full insurance coverage for it, but you do have the right to keep it, but it'll be kept as a salvaged vehicle. Next slide. Now, you may have had things, stuff in your car at the time it was flooded or at the time the tree fell on it. And that stuff may have been damaged. Well, for the most part, those items aren't going to be covered by your auto insurance policy. Those items are going to be covered by either your homeowner's or your renter's policy. I would say take a look at your auto policy because you may have purchased an add-on coverage to cover some of this stuff. But for the most part, for those personal property items, you're going to be looking to file a claim under your homeowner's or your renter's insurance policy. Next slide, please. So now let's talk about homeowners insurance. And when I say homeowners, there are going to be points in here that also will include renters insurance, but for the most part, it's going to be the homeowners insurance. Next slide. So these are the list of things that you need to do if you sustain damage. And hopefully for any of you that did, you've already done these things. You've contacted your insurance company. You've taken photographs and videos of all of the damage, both outside and inside. And here's an important thing. Make only the repairs that are necessary to prevent further damage. So if you happen to have holes in the roof, that means putting up a tarp. Or if your window was blown in, that means covering or boarding up that window. And the reason for this is if you don't take reasonable steps and you sustain additional damage, then the insurance company has the ability to say, well, those are, you failed to mitigate, and so we are not going to cover the additional damage. Now, remember when I said a few minutes ago that the insurance company has a right to inspect? So before you remove anything from your property, make sure that the insurance adjuster, or in certain circumstances, your insurance agent has had a chance to see the damaged property. So what exactly does that mean? That doesn't mean that if you have a chair that has been totally destroyed and is sitting in the middle of your living room, you can't push it to the side. What you can't do is throw it away or take it outside and let it get more damaged. You can, if you can, once you've taken those pictures, you can put it in the basement or move it out of the way so someone doesn't fall over it. But the thing that you cannot do is throw it away. Let's say you have a bunch of wet items. We're not saying that you need to let those wet items stay in the middle of your home and become moldy. No, you can don't send them out to be dry cleaned, but you can remove them from an area that impedes your ability to move around in your home. Also, you can put your insurance company on notice. I have these damaged items. I need you to come out and look at them. And if they keep delaying and delaying after you've given them written notice, then contact us and we will work with you to make sure that they have had a reasonable opportunity to come out and inspect the items. Now, some of the insurance companies are going to say to you, well, you go off and you do X, Y, and Z. You either clean the items or you're allowed to throw them away. Get that in writing. Because what you don't want to happen is someone later dispute whether or not you misunderstood or the person on the other end of the phone didn't particularly use those words. So making sure that you have protected all of your rights under your particular policy. Next slide, please. Okay, to the extent that you need to make emergency repairs, that means putting up a tarp if you have to go out and buy a tarp, or if you've got to get a wet vac to dry an area out, make sure you keep all of your receipts because you're going to need those receipts to process your claim. What we tell people to do is get a notebook and a folder. The notebook is for you to put notes on about everybody you spoke to, everything that you've done, and the folder is to keep all of your receipts in. And then this goes just through some of the things that I talked about, making sure that you keep copies of everything. And to the extent that you have to go out and buy anything, keep detailed notes of that. At some point, the insurance company is going to say, well, we want to send an adjuster out to inspect your property. That they're entitled to do under the terms of your policy. If at all possible, we recommend that you are present at the time of an inspection. And if you have your own contractor already, it's helpful to have the contractor there. And the purpose for that is a couple of things. First of all, you can make sure that they are seeing everything that is damaged. It's not to say that the insurance company is trying to not write down things, but you are much more familiar with all the places that are damaged, all the things that are damaged, so you can point all of those things out during the inspection. Now, one of the things at the end of this process, there may be a settlement offer. We tell people before you accept a check at any point in time, make sure that it is not the final settlement offer, because if you're still at the beginning stages, you may have undiscovered damages. Next slide. Okay, so I mentioned an adjuster. There are a couple of different types of adjuster that you need to be aware of. There's the adjuster that works for the insurance company, and that's going to either be a company adjuster or an independent adjuster. And they're going to, based on the insurance policy, they're going to calculate what the damages are, what your policy does and doesn't cover. And they're going to provide that information to the insurance company. Well, there's another kind of adjuster called a public adjuster. And a public adjuster is working for you, the consumer. So that means you pay a public adjuster. And different public adjusters charge different amounts. And what we tell people is to make sure that before you sign a contract with the public adjuster, you thoroughly understand how much you're going to pay and what is included and what's not included. So that's important. An adjuster that works for the insurance company and an adjuster that works for you. The one that works for you is called a public adjuster, and that is someone that you pay for. Next slide, please. So we frequently get asked, how long will it take for the claim to be settled? And that's not a simple answer. It depends on how much damage you have, but also how many claims the insurance company has, and also sometimes how much time it's going to take to rebuild your home, which will increase if, in fact, like this time, there's a lot of damage to multiple properties. The amount of time to repair and settle a claim, if it's only one home that's damaged, will be significantly different if it's a lot of homes that have been damaged. Next slide. And sometimes one of the things that you should do is contact if you feel as if things are taking too long, reach out to your insurance company and say, can you give me a status? Or let's say your contractor starts the repairs and they find additional damage, your contractor is entitled to reach out to the company and say, there are additional damages that should be considered. Next slide. Your deductible. Different policies have different deductibles. Some policies have a flat amount. It may be $1,000 deductible, or it may be a $1,500 deductible. Some policies, it's a percentage of the amount your home is insured for. So let's say that your home is insured for $250,000 and you have a 10% deductible. That means your deductible is $25,000. It's important that you understand what your deductible is, because that's the amount that you're going to be responsible for. If you look at your declaration page, that is the document that's sent to you every year. You'll be able to find out what your deductible is. Next slide. So with several of these homes where trees fell, you may not be able to stay in your home. And so you may need to be housed someplace else. Most homeowners' policies have something called an additional living expense allowance. Now, that's an additional living expense allowance, which if your house is not able to be lived in under the terms of your policy, you may have coverage for temporary housing. Once again, take a look at your policy to see what it provides for. Next slide. And so the types of things that your additional living expenses will cover, they will cover reasonable lodging expenses, but that's a hotel expense. It does not cover your mortgage. Your mortgage is something that you are already required to pay, so additional living expenses does not pay that. With respect to meals, if your insurance company puts you up in a place where it has a kitchen, the expectation is you're going to cook for yourself just as if you were at home. It only covers the additional costs, not those normal day-to-day costs that you would be responsible for, but for this disaster. And remember, once again, you've got to keep receipts. No receipts, the claim will not be paid. Next slide. Replacement cost versus actual cash value. So actual cash value is what the piece of property, be it your home itself or your personal property, is worth minus depreciation. So as you know, property depreciates over time. So if I go out and I buy a table today that is worth $1,000, and let's say 5 years from now, that table is destroyed because a tree fell on my house. Well, 5 years from now, that table is no longer going to be worth $1,000. It's going to have depreciated. So let's say that the depreciation rate is 50% in 5 years. That means if I have an actual cash value policy, that table, the insurance company is only going to pay me $500. Now, if I have a replacement cost policy, at the time that I replace that item, I'll be able to get the replacement cost of that item. But I have to actually replace the item, and it has to be the same item. So if I have a wooden table, all I get is a wooden table. I don't get to get a marble table that was 2 or 3 times more than the table that I bought right now. It has to be the same type of item. Next slide, please. Now let's spend a couple of minutes focusing on water damage. So for those folks that are in Western Maryland, they experienced flooding. As a general rule, flooding is not covered under a homeowner's policy. You have to purchase a specific flood insurance policy to have coverage for flooding. And the definition of flood is very standard. So doesn't really depend on who you purchased that policy from. A flood is a flood is a flood. And as a general rule, there's not going to be coverage unless you have a flood insurance policy. Next slide, please. Now, there are some types of water damage that may be covered under a homeowner's policy, but it can't be a flooding event. So there may be, let's say your power went off and your sump pump couldn't keep up with the water, then that may be covered. But you have to have water sewer backup for that to be covered. Or let's say that the wind blew your roof off and water entered through your roof. There may be coverage for that. So the distinction is if it's flooding or if the water entered the home in other ways, there may be coverage for that. And the place that we tell people to start is first look at your policy and understand what you have under the terms of that policy. Do you have water sewer backup? And then figure out how the water damage occurred. And depending on how it occurred, you may have coverage for that. Next slide, please. Now, water seepage that may or may not be covered. It really is going to depend on why the water came into your home. Next slide. This is what I referred to before. If the sump pump can't keep up, and one of the good ways to think about it is if water is coming into your home as a result of a pipe or a drain that would normally take the water away from your home, then you may, if you have water sewer backup, you may have coverage. Next slide. This is all of our contact information. And I know I've gone over a lot of information, but once again, what I would say is this presentation will be available on our website in a couple of days. And there's lots of information on our website. So please don't worry if you miss something. All of that will be available. So once again, I would ask if anyone would like to go into a breakout room, or if anyone has any general questions. If you have general questions, please put them in the chat and we will try to answer them.